I'd like to call this meeting of the Brick Township Council to order. Madam Clerk?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 7, 2020. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper, posted on public bulletin boards and the township website.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask everyone to please silence or turn off your cell phones. Roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Minikino.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo. Councilwoman Ponterero.
Here.
Vice President Halloran.
Here.
President Crate.
Here.
Thank you.
Can we now please stand to salute the flag and have a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 14th, 2020 meeting?
Motion.
Okay.
Motion.
Motion? I got a motion? Anybody second?
Second. Second.
Okay. Motion, Councilwoman Zapsik. Second, Vice President Halloran. Roll call?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll ask Vice President Halloran to come down to the podium so that we can salute our students of the month. It's actually a lectern. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our council meeting. Once a month, we like to take the time to salute our students of the month for both Brick Township High School and Brick Memorial High School. They've all achieved great honors within their own buildings, and we like to take the time to honor them here at our council meeting. So when we call your name, if you could please come up. For the Brick Memorial High School Students of the Month for January of 2020 for 9th grade, we have Victoria Nicole and Jenna Chakowski. For 10th grade, we have Siobhan Colas and Paul Mazzio. '11th grade, Kylie Bernat and Lucas Bierman. And for 12th grade, we have Ashley Asante and Ryan Zwier. And for Brick Township High School, grade 9, Paige Nelson. Grade 10, Brianna Harvey. Grade 11, Jessica Wicker. And grade 12, Kurt Harriet. We are now on to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk?
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Resolution 4-1.
Recognize Youth Art Month, March.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution recognizes March as Youth Art Month and is in support of the Brick Township Public Schools, who will be celebrating Youth Art Month and holding a special district arts festival on March 4th. The festival, which will be held at Brick Township High School, will showcase innovative kindergarten through 12th grade programming from all Brick Township Public Schools' Visual and Performing Arts Department, with artwork from every public school in display, presentations and workshops, along with musical, dance, drama, and vocal performances.
Thank you. Resolution 4-2.
Authorize emergency temporary appropriations.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes emergency temporary appropriations for the municipal budget as needed through the end of May. This resolution allows Township to increase line item department budgets by the amount specified, which has been calculated to get all departments through to the time of the adopted budget.
Thank you. Resolution 4-3.
Authorize acceptance of 2020 census grant.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the receipt of a grant from Ocean County and the New Jersey Department of State's 2020 Complete Count Commission in the amount of $14,450. This grant will be used in support of the goal of the complete count in the 2020 census by supporting outreach events that will take place during the months of March and April throughout the community, with a focus on traditionally hard-to-reach populations. A complete census count is critical to ensuring appropriate representation in the state and federal levels and to support our efforts to receive appropriate funding for the next 10 years.
Thank you. Resolution 4-4.
Authorize receipt of bids printing services.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bid for the printing of various township forms used by all the departments, such as letterhead, envelopes, and business cards. The current 2-year contract will expire May 20th, 2020. To date, we have spent $30,000 with 5 awarded vendors.
Thank you. Resolution 4-5.
Authorize receipt of bids demolition and secure property at 472 Irizato Drive.
Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a receipt of bids for the demolition and to secure the property at 472 Irizato Drive, as per recommendation from the Township's Property Maintenance Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 4-6.
Authorize receipt of bids demolition and secure property at 250 Riverside Drive North.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the demolition to secure the property at 250 Riverside Drive North pursuant to a recommendation from the Township's Property Maintenance Board.
Resolution 4-7.
Authorize award of bid purchase and delivery of 133 cubic yard automated refuse collection vehicle.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the award of a bid for the purchase and delivery of 133 cubic yard automated refuse collection vehicle, a 2020 Peterbilt 520 to Hunter, Jersey Peterbilt 524 Monmouth Road, Clarksville, New Jersey, at the cost of $284,945, including the extended warranty. Notices were sent to 70 bidders on the bidders list, and 7 bidders requested bid packages. Hunter Jersey Peterbilt was the lone responsible bidder. The purchase of the truck was approved in the 2019 capital budget.
Thank you. Resolution 48.
Authorize award of bid, purchase and delivery of one 29 cubic yard rear loading collection vehicle.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the award of bid for the purchase and delivery of one 29 cubic yard rear loading refuse collection vehicle, a 2021 Peterbilt to Hunter Jersey Peterbilt, 524 Monmouth Road, Clarksburg, New Jersey, at a cost of $205,699, including the extended warranty. Notices were sent to 70 bidders on the bidders list, and 6 bidders requested bid packages. Hunter Jersey Peterbilt was the lone responsible bidder. The purchase of this truck was approved in the 2019 capital budget. Resolution 49.
Authorize award of contract entertainment and production services for 2020 Summerfest concerts.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of a contract to LaGuardia Associates Cedar Grove in the amount of $29,650 for entertainment and production services for the 2020 Summerfest concert series.
Thank you. Resolution 410.
Authorize award of contract support and maintenance of New World Public Safety Software Suite.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes an award of contract to Tyler Technologies located in Troy, Michigan, in the amount of $142,739.35 to provide maintenance and support services for the New World Public Safety Software Suite used by the Police Department. This service falls under NJSA 40A:11-5 of the Local Public Contracts Law as an approved exemption which allows for the provision or performance of goods or services for the support or maintenance of proprietary computer hardware and software.
Thank you. Resolution 411.
Authorize award of contract through State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program for park equipment.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of contract through the New Jersey State Cooperative Purchasing System for equipment for the new Bayside Park, including shelters, playground equipment, and rubber mulch safety surface. The total amount for these contracts is $216,358.88.
Thank you. Resolution 412.
Authorize award of contract through State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program for sign boxes, Civic Plaza.
Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of contract through the State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program for sign boxes to be installed at Civic Plaza. The contract includes 13 sign boxes and hardware to the Franklin Griffith Electrical Supply Company, Trenton, New Jersey, in the amount of $38,974.97.
Thank you. Resolution 413.
Authorize acceptance of donation from CSD Kitchen and Bath NJ LLC for Police Department renovation.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the acceptance of a donation and installation of kitchen cabinets, countertops by CSD Kitchen and Baths, New Jersey LLC, Brick, New Jersey, to be used in the renovation of Brick Township Police Department. The value of the donation is $4,359.11.
Thank you. Resolution 414.
Authorize addition to the alternate prosecutor pool.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the addition of James Grace Esquire of the firm Grace Mamaro and Associates LLP to be added to the alternate prosecutor pool.
Thank you. Resolution 415.
Authorize appointment to the Board of Adjustment.
Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council
I know, I
President.
always say Vice President, too, sorry.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Mark Starr as an alternate 2 member of the Board of Adjustment. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 416.
Authorize execution of agreement lifeguard services for Curtis Point Property Owners Association and Manahawkin Shores Beach.
Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes an agreement with the Curtis Point property owners and Manahawkin Shores Beach for lifeguard services for the 2020 summer season. In this agreement, the association will reimburse the township for the use of our guards. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 417.
Authorize extension of plenary retail consumption license to Laundries LLC.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the extension of plenary retail consumption license issued to HOP Brick LLC to Landry's LLC as a designated purchaser pursuant to an order issued by the United States Bankruptcy Court. Houlihan's Restaurants and its affiliate entities, including HOP Brick LLC, filed a voluntary petition for bankruptcy in accordance with the applicable United States bankruptcy laws, seeking relief under Chapter 11 of the United States Bankruptcy Code. On December 21st, 2019, the Bankruptcy Court approved an asset purchase agreement by and between HRI and Landy's LLC and recognized Landy's as the designated purchaser of the asset of HOP Brick LLC, including this plenary retail consumption license.
Thank you. Resolution 418.
Authorize adoption of Title VI non-discrimination policy.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the adoption of a non-discrimination policy in accordance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in connection with the operation of Brick Township Senior Transportation Program as required by the grant funding from New Jersey Transit. Title VI prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. The Township of Brick is committed to ensuring that no person shall, on the grounds of race, color, national origin, be excluded from participation or denied the benefits of our services.
Thank you. Resolution 419.
Authorize special events permit, Maniloking Ale House St. Patrick's Day event.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes a special event permit for Manilokin Ale House to conduct a St. Patrick's Day event from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on March 14th at the restaurant on Manilokin Road.
Thank you. Resolution 420.
Authorize special events permit, P.J. Sweeney St. Patrick's Day event.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for P.J. Sweeney's to conduct a St. Patrick's Day event on March 17th between the hours of 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. at the restaurant on Brick Boulevard. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 421, bond releases and reductions. Madam Clerk?
Yes, 421A authorizes the denial for a release of performance guarantees for New Visions Phase 2. This resolution authorizes the denial for a release of the performance guarantees for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 2. At the request of the applicant, our engineering department conducted an inspection of site improvements to ascertain the status of improvements by the performance guarantees. Brick Township ordinance requires as-built drawings be submitted before the guarantee is considered for release. As each partial release is applied for, as-built drawings of the bonded improvements shall be submitted to the township engineer. The as-built plans have not been submitted, and therefore no release can be approved. 421B is an authorized denial of a release of the performance guarantees for New Visions Phase 3. This resolution authorizes the denial for a release of the performance guarantees for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 3. At the request of the applicant, our engineering department conducted an inspection of site improvements to ascertain the status of improvements by the performance guarantees. Brick Township ordinance requires as-built drawings be submitted before the guarantee is considered for release. As each parcel release is applied for, as-built drawings of the bonded improvement shall be submitted to the township engineer. The as-built plans have not been submitted, and therefore no release can be approved. 421C is a site and safety bond release for Two Farms, Inc. on Route 88 in the amount of $1,200. 421D is an inspection fund release for auto image and security on Chambersbridge Road in the amount of $220. 421E is a performance bond release for Shlomo Terran on Industrial Parkway in the amount of $8,118.76. 421F is a performance bond reduction for Artis Holdings, Jack Martin Boulevard, that the bond be reduced to $365,612.39, and the cash bond be reduced to $40,623.60.
Thank you. Resolution 422, tax collector. Ms. Bergen?
Thank you. 22A are tax overpayments. There are two for 2015. 22B are tax overpayments. There is one for the year 2016. 22C is tax overpayments. There is one for the year 2017. 22D, tax overpayments, there are 7 for the year 2018. 22E, tax overpayments, there are 4 for the year 2019. And 22F, tax overpayments, there is 1 for the year 2020.
Thank you. That ends our consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontoriero, second by Councilman Minnicino. Open to council for questions? Seeing none, close council. Open to the public for questions on the resolutions only. Yes, sir.
Sam Foster, 108 Teakwood. I have a question about consent agenda item number 13. It says here that there's a donation from Kitchen and Bath LLC. Just a couple questions about that. Does the police department have their own separate kitchen and bathroom facilities in there? I was just wondering why we have a donation to the police department for that. Or is that part of the, is theirs part of the municipal complex building itself?
Hi, Mr. Foster.
Yeah.
They have their own kitchen and bath area, as many of our departments do.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. I know some of them do. And the other question is, how much is the total renovation for the police department? Does anybody have a dollar amount?
We had a budgeted amount approved in our 2019 capital. We did not award a contract. Instead, what we did is we looked at the math to break out the items individually and purchase them and have the work done by our in-house crew. So I'll have better numbers for you.
Sure.
Our estimations showed that we would save significantly. My concern was the in-house construction's timing and
Yeah.
ability to dedicate that kind of time, but they've jumped into it with both feet, and we're ahead of schedule and under budget.
Yeah, I understand. It's police need renovations in a lot of areas, so I'm glad we're spending some money, or at least getting some help for the police department,
Yes,
not just in
definitely.
that area, but also things like training and things like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment on the agenda items? Yes, Mr. Scott. I couldn't tell if you had your hand raised.
Good evening.
Good evening.
7, 8, and 12. But just to follow up what Mr. Foster said, I too had some questions about the police renovation. I happened to come in and see the business administrator today, and coincidentally discussed this with the police chief. I'm always about the money, and it was, as far as the bills were going to be tonight, some of them were, in my estimation, significant, but the way I understood it and was explained by both the business administrator and the chief, we are going to save a considerable amount of money as to going out to a contractor. So it's significant, probably to a couple $100,000. It's not small change. With that, number 7 and 8, I just want to make some comments. On number 7, we're paying $284,945 for a garbage truck, a 33 cubic yard, probably the most we've ever spent. With this one and the next one, and there is only a 4 cubic yard difference, but yet we're paying $112,000 more for the 33 cubic yard than the 29. The fact that you sent out so many bids, so many packages to like 70 people, 7 picked it up, I just don't see where it's competitive. My suggestion is, if I was sitting up there, I would reject this to send a message. The way the bids are geared is to Peterbilt because they put specific things that only they can do. So it eliminates a lot of the competition from bidding. I think if you had somebody to consider doing that on a generic basis, you would save a ton of money and you would have more competitive bids. I did talk with Ms. Bergen. Unfortunately, we had different opinions. The people that are there now, they're used to using that particular brand. They have the parts for that. But again, if you're going to save money on the other end, parts could be cheaper. Yes, are they going to have to learn, new things about a new product? Possibly. But it's almost like having no competition whatsoever. $300,000 for a garbage truck to me is ridiculous. 412, the sign boxes at Civic Plaza. I wish the mayor was here because quite a while ago he said Brick shouldn't be in the real estate business, we shouldn't be owning the property, and here we are spending $38,000 for tenants, pizza place, this and that. When you have a lease, you're usually obligated to pay whatever repairs that you do. I don't know what the leases say, but $38,000 for an item that the administration said we shouldn't be in, I just think should be avoided. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Crates, so
Yes.
my feedback to Mr. Scott earlier is, in terms of the bid specs for the garbage truck and the rear loader, two very different vehicles, as we talked about. So the cubic yard, the cubic tonnage is not necessarily the main feature, but when we write the bid specs for these documents, we specify only horsepower, because what we are most concerned about is the engine, right? So it's not just Peterbilt, it's not specific to Peterbilt. There's at least 300 vendors that I researched in the time since we spoke, which was Mack, Kenilworth, and Crane Carrier, that all are qualified, were sent bid packages, make the same vehicle. They just didn't apply. They didn't submit a package. So are we unhappy that it's a Peterbilt vehicle? Absolutely not. We know Peterbilts. We know their useful life. Our mechanics know how to fix them, and our vehicle maintenance garage is full of equipment that is able to fix these vehicles. But it's not because we're tailoring the bid specific to Peterbilt. We want an engine that will last and have the best value for our tax dollars.
But as I said this afternoon, it's like you could turn around and have a Mercedes and just stay with Mercedes all the time, or you could get a Toyota Avalon. Is the engine better in one than the other? I mean, it's a matter of what you like at that particular point. But both products will get you where you want to go.
Was part of this also the fact that they offered the extended warranties? Was that, did that play a factor?
That was part of the packages,
Yeah.
yes.
Anyone else from public on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Two things regarding that. One, some idea of the extended maintenance package, what does that add to the cost of the vehicle? You have any idea?
I don't have the breakout from the bids, but I could get you that.
Okay. And secondly, do you ever ask these people why they didn't bid? I mean, the two or three big ones.
I haven't, no. I don't know if anybody in the garage has spoken to them, but I have not.
Maybe we could do that in the future, you know. We sent you a package, but you didn't bid on it. Can you tell us why? That way you're getting a bigger variety of people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from public? Seeing none, close public. Roll call?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. Resolution 423, Bill Resolution Computer 2020.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $9,636,353.48.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontoriero, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to council. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions on the bill resolutions. Yes, sir.
I'm back. It's about
Hello.
money. I had quite a few questions, as I said before, about the police. I want to thank Ms. Bergen for answering those questions, and the police chief this afternoon. They were definitely to my satisfaction. I also looked up the bills for the law firm of Starkey Keneally today. With reviewing those, the only thing I have to suggest, and I wish he was here, Councilperson Mamolo, he turns around and makes a lot of phone calls to the law firm that the township uses. I see a lot of you up there, you don't make a lot of phone calls. I don't know if he realizes that the cash register is ticking while you make that phone call. We're paying for that. I'm paying for that. The taxpayers are paying for that. I think there should be some protocol where whoever, if you have a question, we have a very competent business administrator who probably has the answer before you even have to go to the law firm. I don't think I want to have my money wasted, and I don't see all of you doing it, and I don't mean to call anybody out, but it's done on a continuous basis, quite a lot, so I'd like to see that stopped.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Seeing none, close public, roll call.
Councilwoman Zepsic.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
I'm going to abstain from Teamsters and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Abstain CME, yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 424, Bill Resolution Manual 2020.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,742,975.56.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Motion, Vice President Halloran, second, Councilman Minikino. Open to council? Seeing none, closed council. Open to public for questions on the manual bill resolution only. Seeing none, closed public. Roll call.
Councilwoman Zepsic.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Abstain CME, yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are on to 5-1 ordinances on first reading. There is no public hearing on first reading.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of the donation of property known as Block 1428, Lot 2, for no consideration.
Thank you. Council Vice President Halloran.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. The Township Council's Land Use Committee reviewed and approved the acquisition by donation for this property known as Block 1428, Lot 2, for no consideration. This property is adjacent to a recreational area. Thank you.
Thank you. 5-2. Oh, sorry, I'm just
Motion.
jumping ahead. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Councilwoman Pontoriero, second from Vice President Halloran. Open to council. Closed council. Roll call.
Councilwoman Zepsic.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we're on 5-2. Sorry about that.
That's okay. An
Madam Clerk.
ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 168 of the Township Code entitled Engineering Permits and Standards.
Thank you, Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. The Township Council's Land Use Committee reviewed and approved the introduction of this ordinance to update 3 areas in the Engineering Permits and Standards Code. This amended ordinance includes reference to commercial parking lot improvements, which is currently under 4 different township divisions. Including the reference to commercial parking lot improvements puts them all in one place, making it easier for applicants and the engineering department. Additionally, this ordinance establishes a minimum bulkhead elevation of 4 feet and requires a permit prior to the start of construction of any retaining wall over 8 inches tall, as opposed to 30 inches. This height modification is consistent with the township's zoning requirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Councilwoman Pontoriero, second, Councilman Minikino. Open to council. Closed council. Roll call.
Councilwoman Zepsic.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to public comments. Madam Clerk?
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Thank you. Anyone for public comment? Yes, sir.
Robert Palmisano, 525 Broad Ave. I sent the mayor, all the council, and the administrator an email last Friday, never received a response back. And it was regarding the ACT engineering. I saw about 6 o'clock tonight we got a notice that the town signed a contract with them. Thank you for that. However, in reviewing their website, it looks like they have no experience, either the principals or any of the engineers listed on there, in any flood mitigation type work. So I'm wondering why we picked ACT Engineering. One question. Secondly, is it not required that that type of work go out to bid? I mean, is the town allowed to select one firm and say, give us a proposal? If they came back with a $500,000 proposal, would we have accepted it? Or would we have looked for an alternative? So I'd like to know those answers. And then my last comment is regarding another email you all received regarding the article that was in the Ocean Star last week, whereas Normandy Beach made the front page about the flooding, and then later on in the article, there was the article about Maniloking and how their police department was very proactive in shutting roads down for safety of both their citizens and the residents' property. Whereas in Normandy Beach, there's actually a picture of the police car going through, creating a wake, so helping to destroy the properties. And they also quote, they close the roads because they don't know if manhole covers pop with this type of water, which would create a hazard for people walking the streets because they can't drive. And again, I never got a response from anyone on the council or the mayor. So if I can have some answers maybe from the administrator regarding ACT.
Yes, Ms. Bergen?
Sure, so I can give you some background. When we're looking to do a similar large-scale project, very similar to the areas of flooding. We have areas that of man-made lagoons that need to be dredged, and I think I've covered this previously, but I'll kind of bring it full circle. We spoke with ACT. They were recommended to us by another municipality that was doing large-scale dredging. And we met and talked with them about their experience and background as it related to dredging, and they talked about comparable projects that they were working on for other municipalities that were not only dredge-related, but also flooding-related. And that kind of stuck in the back of my mind as we went through the process of talking with the residents in Normandy Beach. We did retain them to do the townwide dredge permit. They have done an exceptional job at gathering the data, doing all of the necessary survey work, communicating with residents, working with the state agencies that are involved in issuing these permits, and the feedback that we've received from the state and the residents is all positive, and their work has been, like I said, exactly what we expected and exceptional. So we have that background as well. When we did our pool of professionals this year, municipal entities once a year reorganize, and prior to that they send out requests for proposals for a variety of professionals, surveyors, architects, engineers, attorneys, special types of attorneys, special types of engineers, whether it be traffic or what have you, and that is the qualification process at that time. Then they submit their package and they're put on a pool. And by doing that, we have that pool available to us to use as projects come up throughout the year, so that we don't have to do the added timeline layer of going out to bid and getting proposals, a more formal process that would absolutely set back the timetable, which is something you try to avoid when you're trying to move quickly. And in government, nothing moves quickly, so to add more layers that slow things down, when we can avoid that, we do avoid that. So that is how ACT has met the qualifications to be on our pool and allowed us to reach out to them and speak to them.
But specifically, when you were looking for engineering firms back in January, were you looking for flood issues? Because again, nowhere in their website do they have any experience. They list all the projects or major projects they've been involved with. It doesn't list anything about any flood issues within any towns that you're mentioning. I think you mentioned Ocean City. Is the other town they work? It's not mentioned on that website.
Well, I'm not going to speak to their website or their marketing approach. I'm speaking to our experience, and I'm speaking to...
Matter of fact, the principal doesn't even, none of them have engineering degrees with any of the flood backgrounds. Where I remember the individual from FEMA that was here that day with the FEMA meeting, his credentials were tremendous. He had 3 or 4 degrees with specific backgrounds regarding flooding. No one in that firm has that background. So I'm not sure that the best firm was selected for this type project.
Okay, well, we've selected them. We signed the proposal, and we're going to work on the project as we said we would.
And then, any comments regarding the article, Maniloking versus Normandy Beach, on how the towns handled the flooding and closing of the roads?
I'm happy to give updates on what we're doing, and I will continue to do that, but no, I didn't.
So the next step with ACT and the time frame is what?
I believe you mentioned the email that you got at 6
Yeah, it
o'clock?
said 2 to 3 months for the survey, and then
That's correct.
what else besides that?
There is no other timeline than the one I provided on the email.
So 2 to 3 months, we should have a proposal, and then the town can start. So within the 2 or 3 months, they'll have those 4 public meetings?
They indicated that the survey work would take about 2 to 3 months, and yes, my expectation is that we would schedule those community meetings in that same time frame.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, sir? Mhm.
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. Four things. First, I wanted to say, I want to thank the council because this year the meetings have been professionally run, been very polite and respectful to the public, and I really do appreciate it. I know a lot of other people do as well, and I want to thank all of you for that because we've had some very raucous, I guess is the word, meetings in the past, and really it's always good when you have good rapport between the public and the council and politicians, so I want to thank all of you for that. You've all done a great job this year, as has, well, the mayor's never really been a problem, or Joanne. So I want to thank all of you for that. We all really do appreciate it. I've been all over the town. I work for Pizza Hut. I talk to people when I'm delivering. I don't talk politics because I get fired, but they do mention that they see me during council meetings, and they did mention that the meetings have been very well run this year. So thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for that. The town appreciates it, we really do. And thank you. A couple quick questions here. First is I read an article in the Asbury Park Press about the police are being issued, Brick Police have been issued stun guns. Now, the question about this, are they going to be issued to all police, or because the article did not say if the special police will be issued them as well, like we have the special police guarding the building here during council meetings. Is this only going to be regular duty police, or is it going to be special one, special two class police, or do you know?
The tasers will not be issued to our special police.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Tasers will not be issued to our special police. It's
Okay.
only 37 of our police officers right now. We have a roster of 140, but 37 of them are issued the tools. these
Okay,
tools.
thank you, that's that. And how is the tasers, are they going to be paid with a grant money like or are they being paid through taxpayer money?
Well, we did apply for grants through the state for all police equipment, and if not, it's funded through taxpayer dollars, so it's usually a combination.
Okay, one final question here is, this is, well, it's not really off topic, public comments, but I attend Thomas River Council meetings as well, and they have a really good website. I'm not trying to knock Brick Township, but they have monthly ADA meetings, Americans with Disabilities Act meetings for people in their town that are disabled. I'm a disabled person, as you all know, and I know there's other people in town also, some of them attend council meetings, and it's, I wanted to know if Brick is going to have, if you're planning on having any similar meetings for disabled people that are residents of Brick, like myself, to keep them informed about the latest things, or, because I know that Tom's River has it for their residents. I don't know how many people in town would benefit from it. I don't even know how many people attend the Tom's River meetings. I'm tempted to go one, but even though I'm a resident of Brick, but do you have any idea if you have anything planned, or does Brick Township, are you able to refer someone who's disabled like myself to like a state or county referral source?
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Tara Paxton, our township planner, is our liaison for ADA, as Michael Fowler was when he was planner. So I'd be happy to talk to her about her thoughts on perhaps a public committee. We've talked about it a little bit before, but we do refer people who need assistance. We do provide direct assistance to people who reach out to us for a variety of types of disabilities and things that they need related to that. So we're actively assisting folks. We don't have a committee that meets to discuss that, but I'd certainly be happy to talk to her about that.
Okay, I might send her, I guess she's available through email to the town, right?
Yes.
Because I have some questions about my legal rights for just being a disabled person. And that's it. It's just, like I said, I did want to point out, I just wanted to bring to your attention that I did want to thank you all for the way the meetings have been run. They're really fine. You know, I used to compare you unfavorably to Tom's River Council meetings and Ocean County Freeholder meetings, but really this year has been, couldn't really ask for anything more from our politicians, our elected officials, and I want to thank all of you. And I know, I admit, Hey, I'll admit, I've done things, I've been at fault in the past, I'll admit, I'm guilty, so. I know sometimes I've provoked you, so, and I do apologize for that, I did apologize to you. But, like I said, the meetings are run, and, you're all very polite and respectful, and the public, I think, you haven't had any problems with the people speaking out of turn, and I think that's really what I wanted to, that was what point I was made years ago when, you set an example and then people follow it, and the example that people have been setting this year is really a fine one. And I'm even though I'm not going to mention who I voted for in anything in the last election, but really, regardless of who you voted for, I think we all can agree that we have some fine people up there now on the council in office, and I want to thank you all for that. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else from public? Sir? Yes, in the brown, yeah. Yes.
Ken Solon, 511 Broad Avenue in Normandy Beach as well. Another concerned resident in Normandy Beach about the flooding issues. First off, I would like to thank the council and Joanne for moving forward with bringing on an engineering firm. I can't comment to what Robert said regarding the qualifications of the engineering firm, although I do know that my sister-in-law lives in Ocean City, has also had flooding issues that have been taken care of, and I'm not sure if it was ACT Engineering that did that work. I hope it was, because it was actually quite satisfactory in terms of the resolution. My question is, I did read your note as well, Joanne, so thank you for that. Once all the data is collected and the proposal's evaluation is done, it's not clear in my mind what the next steps are. So if indeed both short and long-term solutions are proposed, what is the next steps that take place in terms of moving on those actions forward?
Mayor?
Yes, please do.
Yes, thank you.
It's all you.
It's my first, I'm not sure of the protocol, so
expert.
thank you.
Hold
yeah.
my breath, then. So thank you, Council President Crate. So as I mentioned in my email, there was a second proposal to submit grant
To FEMA,
applications
yes,
to NJOEM and FEMA. The one application they spoke to is due November 30th, so their plan is to have enough data and enough information together to be able to submit comprehensive applications. Specifically in that second proposal that I mentioned in my email to do the applications, there was a portion of that work that was specific to the benefit cost analysis, and everything that we do in terms of funding requests hinges on
Yes, I understand.
our scores. So they will be entirely focused on how to show FEMA through the benefit cost analysis that we not only meet the criteria but exceed the criteria and should fall much higher on the consideration scale. So that would be next, in my opinion, is let them get their survey work done that then does the scientific calculations we need, and they will speak to the residents in the meantime. They'll be out in the communities. They'll do all of the LIDAR and other survey work that's required, and they'll submit applications. So the next step would be the submission of applications.
So that the application
for the projects.
deadline is November, I believe you said, correct?
Yes. Now, there's a series of applications. That's one, but there are other ones. That's the one that has a firm deadline. The others have more rolling deadlines. So we're shooting for that November 30th.
So as a resident, I should expect to see what comes out of the evaluation that ACT does, and then submission, understand when the submission of the application
Yes.
is, and then ongoing how that application is evaluated and what next steps might come from that. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you.
I will
The
plan on
pace of
continuing
government.
to send updates
Yeah,
to
I appreciate that very
group
much, yeah.
chain. This way.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, and I think you're all aware of many of the concerned residents in the area, it's become much more than a nuisance issue. It really is a safety issue, one that I'm concerned of. I'm not a permanent resident there, but I will be moving there permanently as well. So just increased concern from a public safety standpoint.
Well, we welcome you full-time.
Yep.
And I want to point out one thing about the nuisance. So I try to avoid that at all costs because I recognize that this is not a nuisance. This is terribly impacting my quality of life. It's a technical term that FEMA uses because if it's not creating property damage claims to them, it's considered by definition nuisance flooding. So when you see it used, it's never meant to diminish your
Yeah,
experience.
thanks for clarifying that. Thank you.
It's meant as a clinical definition.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's no red tape like governmental red tape,
Yeah.
I'm learning, yes. Anyone else from public? Sir in the Brett?
Adam Nalvin, 708 Tanager Way. Kind of touching upon, I guess, what would be defined as nuisance flooding. Just wanted to bring this to the attention because this is something that's been going on my property, going on 8 years now. So just to give a quick update, I live at the corner of Thiel and Tanager Way. There's a large field with a drainage easement that goes there. Every single summer for the past 8 years, anytime we get big, heavy flooding rain, not like if it's just raining all day, it's fine, but when we get that like blast where like it's really coming down, the pipe that is located on the corner of our property, where the water is supposed to feed into the pipe, when it gets overwhelming large amounts of rain, the water starts to pour out onto our property. It creates a pool, depending on how long it lasts for. It gets about 8 feet deep. It gets towards the house. One time it did get into the basement, but most of the time it's just coming towards the house, and then within 20 minutes of the rain ending, the water then gets sucked back into the pipe with immense power that you could not possibly imagine. We've gone through thousands of dollars of legal fees, private engineers. It took the latest thing that we got when we first brought it to the township. Basically, was told that since the builder had still not been released from his bond, we went to court with that, and they told us that because it was really us, the township, and the builder, they said since the builder was still involved, the town would not do anything until the builder fixed the pipe. The pipe that had put in was this big, and they said the builder had to put in one that was this big, and they said that would fix it. I'm not an engineering major. When there's water blasting out of a hole this big, and then you make it this big, it's not going to fix the problem. They did that once again next summer. Happens every single time. So the last thing that we met was this has been going on now for 8 years of back and forth of we don't hear back from the town engineer for months. So the last thing that we heard was in September, finally after 8 years, we got the township attorney and the township engineer to actually meet at our house. And at least they vocalized for the first time in 8 years that this is a problem. That was a good first step. So they said, all right, we had our private engineer there as well that we have to continue to pay for his input, and he has solutions, but obviously it's a financial thing. I get it, but at least they admitted this was a problem. So they said, all right, well, the next step is he has solutions that he could write any number of things, but it's a cost thing. I understand that. So we were told, all right, well, an as-built survey needs to be done, which apparently was never done. I don't even fathom how that can have occurred, and the house was sold. I don't understand that. I'm not a real estate attorney, but that's whatever, how that has gone through. So we were told, all right, they'll get an as-built survey to see what we can do next, and I was informed yesterday that the as-built survey was denied. So we're at, okay, 8 years, and it's going to happen again this summer. I have a 24-hour surveillance camera on it, so every single summer when the flooding occurs, I have video of it. It's pretty frightening, just because of the power that it comes towards the house and a pipe that's supposed to go in, it all pours coming out. I have some pictures if you care to see. I don't know, whatever. Here's what it looks like when it's normal. Here's what it looks like when it's really bad. But it goes away quick. So it's happened at least once every summer. It could happen more because if it happens at night, there's no evidence of it. You don't see it. So that's how long it's been going on. So I just don't know where we go from here, in that we were told in September, and it took 5 months to get the answer that we were told there were going to be an as-built survey so we can at least go to the next step of what's the problem, so how can it possibly get fixed. 5 months later, we're told we're not approving the as-built survey, so I don't know where we go. I really don't want to take the township to court because that's going to be a lot more attorney fees and things that I don't really want to do. So just seeing where do we go from here, I have no idea.
Council?
We did go out, right?
Yes.
We met, and Alyssa and I, Alyssa Cummins, our township engineer, went out there and met, and you're right. Your problem is that, for the council's benefit, Mr. Nalvin's house is essentially at the bottom of the hill, up in at the end of Tanager and Thiel. So the properties further up Thiel drain down the roadway to his house. His house is on a lot that also has next to it, I think I got the photos of it, a detention, a sort of a detention basin. Alyssa did look at the detention basin as it was originally designed, and it was a larger detention basin. I don't know if this isn't Mr. Nalvin's fault, but apparently the builder either didn't broaden it enough or narrowed it down so that it does not hold the capacity of water that it was originally designed to do. and because there is a rise after Mr. Nalvin's house, you know where it is, it's sort of near the river, but it's up the road from it, and to get to the river, there is a rise just past Mr. Nalvin's house. So when the water is coming down that hill, down Thiel, and down the line that's in Thiel, and it's not going quite fast enough for if it's overwhelming, it can't get up over the rise and then go down to the river. And there's a line that goes down to the river, and that's where a lot of the water typically goes. When you see the flooding on his property, it's when that water is overflowing coming down the hill, floods up on his property, and then as the water is relieved, it goes back down to the river. We talked about how to get the water from his property faster down the river. There are concerns with that. One of the issues is because of the detention basin is not large enough, not as it was designed on his property. That's, Alyssa says, one of the reasons that water is rising. So one of the solutions we discussed, I know, out there was increasing the size of that detention basin. You sort of have two lots. You have your house on one lot and the detention basin sort of next to it. Like there's I don't know if it's a separate lot, but another lot. One of the solutions is widening that detention basin, broadening it, so it can absorb the water that will come down as it was originally designed. I know that's not something that...
Yeah, I mean, that's our, even though it's part of the easement, like that's not, to us, the number one solution, like, and the engineer had other ways of having, you know, again, I have reports, whatever, that I can show of his suggestions, but of the, you know, just of trying to figure out ways of like that drain itself isn't, with all the land that's been built on that, you know, it can't handle it. But the next step again was the as-built survey. So like, was the as-built survey denied? Is there ever any reconsideration? That's just the next step. Like, this has taken 8 years to get. Okay, it's a problem. Like, we took 8 years to get there. So like, I'm hoping it's not going to take another 8, 11, 12 years to like get an answer. It took 5 months to get a as-built. No as-built. Like. So when you were there, you said, like, we thought we'd know in weeks. But I understand things take time.
I think it's fair to say that we didn't recognize there was a problem there. This goes back to the lawsuit you were involved in. We were out there then and realized there was a problem and got the builder to do some things, the original builder helped that. But you know, one of the solutions is modifying your property. I understand that's not something you want to do, but that is, right now, it's not the way it was originally designed, which is contributing to the problem. And I understand that's not your preferred solution. We could, if you want, we could meet with you and have Alyssa meet again to go over that potential solution and what it'll mean to you and what the cost will be.
Excuse me, what about the other thing about the engineer's suggestion? I'm sorry, we're over the time. The engineer's suggestions of like, there's other things that could be done with the streets and the pipes, and we wanted to see we can't even see what the cost of that is because the as-built was never done. Like, so I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know where else to go. Like, is my concern and question.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we meet again and we'll go over the proposals we had again and see if it's satisfactory.
All right, and so my last question is, because the as-built, I don't know if that was in front of the council or who rejected that, like, that being done, like, where does that?
This is all being handled by administration. It's
Okay.
made business administrator, the engineer. We handle that because it's really a technical issue, not a policy issue for the council.
Okay, so, all right, so I guess I'll talk to you about that, and then of like.
If you want to stick around, I'll talk to you after.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sluka?
I'm just going to read my letter. I guess everybody has received, dated February 19th. It's John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. Dear Mayor Ducey, Council President Lisa Crade, and all the Brick councilmen and councilwomen. Disease due to the standing water and illnesses from vehicular exhaust are some of the results of not being able to get things done and not being able to get real help from the state's powers to be. Many months ago, I suggested the local elected officials dump all political parties and just run for election and re-election based on the promises made and results achieved. There seems to be no benefit from being in a political party because pleas and requests just go ignored and unanswered from those in power at the state level. What we see here in Brick and Ocean County is a lot of agreement on problems, but little, if any, solutions. The governors and the state senate's party is in power, And although in Brick, the party in power is the same as the governor's party, there is no help nor any real understanding. People will continue to get ill, children will acquire more illnesses, mothers will have children with various symptoms, others will develop COPD, and seniors will die prematurely. This is the legacy that the leaders in Brick will leave behind. Of course, decisions must be made and solutions must be reached, but long drawn-out studies only delay action and lead to slow, ineffective enactments while people continue to become ill and eventually succumb. There seems to be various ideas for possible solutions, or at least attempts at solutions available to those who face continuous flooding and poor drainage levels. Additionally, at least a partial solution to the toxins spewed by the Garden State Parkway vehicles has been known for years. Talking and begging the state government has done nothing, and its unelected bureaucrats and cohorts-filled agencies have no interest in helping the people in the state. A large wall with added thick brush is needed on the Garden State Parkway in many areas of Brick Township, including Evergreen Woods, Greenbrier, Briar Mill, and basically a lot of other areas, in order to cut down on some of the noise and the toxins from the Garden State Parkway. In Brick, people are awakened at night from loud bursts of truck noise. Children are exposed to the toxins at bus stops and playgrounds and the ball fields that border the Garden State Parkway, and seniors expect their health to degenerate more quickly as the pollution causes COPD and other heart and lung ailments that impact their lives. The residents of areas and streets surrounding the Garden State Parkway are at risk to early onset of COPD, heart attacks, asthma, autism, premature deaths, and other ailments, and the governor and his band of functionaries proved they cannot. The council members, mayor, board of ed, superintendent of schools, and all teachers must stand up for the children and the seniors and basically all the citizens who were impacted by the toxins flowing off the Garden State Parkway. Due to the exorbitant spending on their friends and collaborators, the state has run itself into a major debt problem and then expresses that it has no money for the working class. It is well past time that we take legal action because the shore communities basically have no friends in Trenton. And now the future for our children, act now for the future of our children and for the lives of the seniors and all of us. Thanks for your time. I yield back a minute and 10 seconds.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Miss, in the blue?
Hello, I'm Beth Dorer from 545 Broad Avenue. Thank you very much for getting this ACT surveyor on the in all lined up and actually going, because we understand that in order to make an impression with FEMA, we have to have this kind of study behind us. But what is also important, and Normandy Beach especially antipathizes this, in that we're split between Bricktown and Toms River, and that what would be really constructive is, and I know you've already started to do this, to actually band together with the other townships who have property, taxable property on the barrier island, and use that power when the FEMA is actually approached with this study, because they obviously responded after Sandy. We've got all this beach replenishment that has protected the barrier island because it's a big revenue producer for both Bricktown, all the townships along the who own and get tax revenue from the barrier island. So does the state. And they put all the beach replenishment in, but the water comes from the bay also. And that's what we're going to be seeing with this ACT study. Hopefully, they'll also give us some remediation solutions. If you're all bounded together with the various mayors, that'll make a much bigger impact. Also, with the LIDAR studies, as far as I understand, that's also a ground-penetrating type of sonar study that not only shows the level of the land, but also the density of the land. The thing that, as residents, we already know that we experience a lot of flooding in the low-lying area. That water comes from rainstorms, but it also comes from rising tides and up through the land. So one of the issues as we go forward, I would like to, and I know that a lot of low-lying areas around the country are facing this. When is the water actually rising up through the land and cannot be sucked away? So how, as a community, can we deal with the basic issue is flooding, it's drainage. And when is the town responsible for drainage in low-lying areas? And when do we, as landowners, become responsible for the grading of our land? And I know a lot of that was talked about when we all rebuilt after Sandy, of how to grade our properties. So if you can help communicate that to us as communities, where the town's responsibility for the drainage, and then how we can properly drain our properties as we go through continuing flooding issues in our area. Has that been discussed at all? Where is the town's responsibility for drainage, and where does the landowner's responsibility come in?
I don't know that there's a specific answer on that.
Okay.
Other than, the public entities are responsible on their land and private on other, but you can't really divide it up like that and say, here's where it ends, just because it's such a...
Well, what we're facing is, when is it the level of the land, when is the level of the streets, and where it does the taking away the water from the streets. That may in the future have to be raised in order to remediate and make it safe to approach our properties. The land is sinking, the Atlantic Ocean is rising. We know that from climate change. It's very documentable, and there are lots of different solutions, but we need to work together as community and communicate so that we can come together as communities for the right solutions too, okay? So I don't know if as engineers, we'd love to hear that kind of feedback so that we as a community can work with you. Also, we're here, and I'm so glad that that part of this proposal is going to be involving the landowners. We really appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I yield back 47 seconds.
Thank you. Yes, Miss?
Thank you. Donna Delanoy, 98 Seagoing Road, Cherry Quay section. And as you know, I've spoken before. In our area, we've flooded since we bought our tiny bungalow in 1993. We've been flooding since 1993. I just wanted all of you to be aware. Joanne, just 2 questions, or for clarification purposes, for me at least. The survey that you spoke of, is that being conducted in all of the areas flooding?
Yes, and I actually reached out to our clerk's office earlier to see if we had your email address. I was going to include you on the chain. We didn't have it, so I was preparing it in letter form, but if I could get that tonight, I will keep you posted on, give you a detailed email on what we've done, what we're doing, and what it entails.
Great. That was my second question.
Yes.
Can I get on that email chain?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Miss?
Totally different subject. Do we have a figure on what we get for recycling, or how much the town is taking in for recycling these days?
We don't have a current total. I can find out for our next meeting. I reach out to our recycling.
What is being done with the money that we do collect from it?
Ms. Bergen?
So we get a grant that is handled through Department of Public Works with our recycling coordinator, Trish Totero, and we purchase reusable bags, reusable water bottles. We purchased a vehicle for the recycling coordinator. There's a variety of eligible expenditures, and we go through that list and acquire different things under the grant each year.
Has it ever been thought of that instead of doing recyclable bags, that I don't even know who gets them, or things like that, that people can get a recycling can at no cost?
Well, I'll certainly take that back to Trish, but I think the recycling bags have been extremely popular. We've had tables at grocery stores
Yeah,
and
but we don't know who's taking them.
farmers
They might
market.
live in Jackson, Lakewood, Toms River. I don't care if they take them. It's not helping me. I'm recycling. I'm putting my can out. I'm adding to the money we get. Reason I'm asking is a friend of mine had to get a new can. And she said, why do I have to pay for another can? We recycle. Why can't we get another can? I said, I don't know.
Everybody got the first can for free, and any replacement cans they're charged for. It's a consistent policy that
But I'm asking why. If we're getting money for the recycling, why isn't a portion of the money put towards
Because we gave
replacement
everybody one
cans?
for free. Everybody got one for free. So
But
if
they
you're not-
break. They're garbage cans. And I mean in the sense that they are garbage.
Well, they're meant to hold refuse that is collected through an
No,
automated
I'm
truck.
not saying they collect garbage. They are garbage cans.
Okay, they're meant to collect garbage, they're meant to hold garbage, and they're meant to dispense garbage. So if they break and cannot be repaired, somebody can buy, you got one for free. So we've already done the right thing and given everybody a free can.
And I've done everything right. My friend has done everything right by recycling, contributing to the money that's brought in to buy bags. That doesn't help me. I'm the taxpayer. I'm putting out my recycling.
Well, I appreciate your opinion, and we'll run that up the chain to see if other folks are interested in spending the money that way. I don't know that they are.
I'm not saying they have to pay for every one, but there should be a portion allocated each year towards purchasing
And then
cans.
who's going to determine who picks and chooses who gets the free
Well,
one?
if somebody has a can that the lid broke off of and the wheels broke off of,
I don't want to be the one making that decision because everybody's got a story and everybody thinks that they're the person that should get something for free. It's much easier to be consistent, which is everybody gets the first one for free, and if you need a replacement, you pay
okay,
for
then
it.
everybody in this town should have a recycling bag.
And they can.
They
Call
can get
DPW
them.
If I go
and
to
they'll give you
Stop
one.
and Shop, I don't live on that side of town.
Well, we've given out the bags at all different
Farmers
occasions.
market.
Farmers
Where?
market.
Where on the other side of town?
Which side
We
of town are you
mostly
talking?
give-
I don't know what the other side of town that you're
The
talking about.
north side of town. I finally know what side
We
of town I
mostly
live
give
on.
them at township events.
We do.
We were specifically invited by Stop and Shop, who had a special day where they were trying to encourage people to turn in all their plastic bags by giving them. So that was a specific day that we were invited to attend, and we did. It wasn't targeted at Stop and Shop because we wanted to go to one side of town versus the other, which is why we're generally consistent and give them out at township events and the Green Fair.
All right, then I guess I'm just going to have to say, I guess the north side of town is just being prejudiced against it. They
And
don't-
how is that? How did you
Well,
get
we
to that
don't have-
conclusion?
We don't have grocery stores to have anything. We don't have any place that town events are held at. So I guess we're never going to get something. The what?
The farmers market's at Windward.
Farmers Market's on the north side of town, that's Windward Beach. Green
That's
Fair.
also-
Farmers Market is on the north side of town. Do you know where the north side of town is?
Windward Beach.
Herbertsville.
I'm not going to get into a semantic
It's
discussion. It's at township events. It's at a township. You work for the township. Ask for a bag. You are more than welcome to have one. Anybody can call and ask for a bag.
Thank you.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
And I know that you not only come to each meeting, so you know what events we're having, and I understand what you're saying. I'm doing everything right, and I'm not reaping any benefit of the recycling. But understand that the monetary benefit is supposed to go back toward encouraging and facilitating more recycling. That's the thought behind the benefit monetarily that we get. So there are restrictions. But I understand what you're saying. So what I would say to you, number one, is I'm telling you, yes, we get one garbage can for free. And I understood when you said the garbage. In other words, not well designed. They don't hold up well over time. But if the town was responsible for replacement cans, I'm telling you, it's going to exceed any imaginable expectation that you may have. Not from people maybe like you or your friend or your neighbor, but other people with more nefarious or more financial interests. So what I would say is this. If you're interested in reaping a benefit from all of the recycling that the town is doing, you can get a bag for free. Yes. But you're never going to, no member
That's
of
the
Brick
cost of the can.
exclusively is going to reap a financial benefit, because that's not the point of why the government gives us a benefit, a financial benefit. It goes back into the system to have more recycling go on, and that's what it's designed to do. So you may not like it, but that's the reality of what it's there to do. It goes back into the system to encourage more, to help the earth. That's what it's there for. May not like the explanation, but at least it's the explanation.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Mr. Finelli?
Just a quick comment on that before I get into mine. The other piece of recycling, and you all know that the money that we're getting for recycling is going down because
Yes.
nobody wants it anymore.
Yes.
So it's probably going to be, the big saving is not having to pay to put it in the dump. And that money is just, that's just there. Okay, I had a couple of questions on the State Commission of Investigation report that was getting a lot of press, and the mayor's not here. Should I wait till he's here, or do you want to?
You can feel free. It's up to you.
I'm asking you.
It's your questions, Mr. Pinelli.
Okay, well, it's more of a clarification, all right? I read the original article about the report, and then I read the opinion article that the Asbury Park Press did on Sunday, and then I saw the mayor's response to some of the things, and what wasn't clear is that the mayor said that some of the things were inaccurate. So I was wanting to know what was inaccurate, and there was three things that two that I know about, one that I don't know what it means. Longevity pay counted towards pension. I know what that is, and I know you give out longevity pay, at least in the police department. The second one is annual buybacks. And I don't know if you were here a couple years ago when I raised the issue when the police chief was retiring, and you knew he was retiring, and 3 years before he was retiring, he was getting these lump sums at the end of the year, and I asked what it was, and it was these buybacks. And then they also mentioned terminal leave, and I really don't know what that means. So maybe you could explain what our policies are, or, in those three general areas, what we do and don't do?
Well, it's a pretty broad question. So,
I didn't say it was going to be easy. But
Right, you
volunteered.
didn't. I'm just trying to think, what's the best way for me to describe some of these things. So we generally follow our contracts, and we have made, a significant change in our time here, specifically the payouts that used to occur that we no longer do, because they were always had the condition of to fall back to administrative decision. So at our first year here, we did the paybacks as they were done, did the payouts as they were done, but made it clear that we would not be doing that going forward. We wouldn't leave it to a year-to-year decision on finances. It was going to be, we don't do that. Use your time or lose your time. So any opportunity we had to address things by policy, we did, and stop those practices. Everything else that we do, we follow our contracts. So we don't have any end games. We don't have any hidden ways to provide opportunities. We follow the same policy. Everyone is treated the same way, and it's
Okay, so
in accordance with their
if
contract.
I understand
So-
what you just said, this thing about annual buybacks, you not do that anymore.
No, so if you can put in for, if you are due a payout at the time of retirement, because we have a lot of people that are still here, that are, a lot of what we changed from 2005 going forward. So we have people that retired that started employment here prior to 2005. So those people remain eligible for whatever they were eligible for at the time that they were hired.
Okay.
So most of what we've done is, or the only change we're really going to see is down the road from 2005 when all of those people are retired and gone. So we do have advanced payouts for people that have remained eligible for those. We can only change what's in what's our ability to change from one point going forward. We can't go back in time and change prior agreements. So there are people getting advanced payouts because they're eligible for them. They've been here for a long time.
Do we count longevity pay towards pension payouts?
I'm not 100% certain. I don't think so, but I really have to check that.
That's not a decision made by the township in any event,
Yeah.
though. That's a state, the state pensions division makes a decision as to whether or not that type of pay is included as a pensionable amount.
Or just the state saying you shouldn't do that?
Well,
This is the state saying, you're wrong because we told you not to do that, and you're doing it, but you're telling me that the state is making you do it.
I can tell you absolutely that when there is longevity pay in a contract, the state pensions division, not the township, makes a decision as to whether or not that's included as pensionable compensation. Yes, I don't know what the state is saying. I haven't seen what you're looking at, but that's the way it's been treated for decades. The state makes decisions on what's pensionable.
So there's a lot of conflicts in here as it relates to a state commission penning a report. They also criticize outcomes, but yet they have a role to assist in those outcomes or to support municipalities as we lobby for outcomes, and they don't. So it depends on which division. So this division happens to be very critical, but there's other divisions of the state that are not only not helping, they're hurting when we try to make change, but they're not being criticized. So if this, and that's what the problem here is, it's not a partnership on how we can best create change or facilitate change that would help us manage some things. It's let's criticize you while some of our other fellow departments are making it hard for you to do what you're trying to do.
That's why I'm asking the questions, okay? And maybe the mayor, when next time you see it, can, respond to their criticism. Two things, and I've said it before, and I've said it here, and I've said it across the street. Because something is in a contract, people use it as an excuse, but every time you negotiate a contract, you have the power to put that in or take it out or fight for it. Some of the things that are in these contracts are ridiculous, and nobody can afford them anymore, but they're still there because nobody wants to take them out. The other thing is, and 30 years in business, I'll tell you this, sick time is there to help you out when you're sick, all right? So you're already getting paid a salary, hourly or weekly or monthly or yearly, to come to work. Now you stay home, and then we pay you on top of that if you stay home, but then if you don't stay home, if you're not sick, we pay you again. We pay you an additional amount of money. We buy back the sick time, right? So that's a double bang on the taxpayers. Sick time is there if you need it. If you get sick, you get paid. You got people that get 10 sick days every year, and I've had them tell me personally, right? I've had teachers tell me personally, hey, I get sick 10 days a year, I'm taking them. I'm taking my sick days, or I'm selling them back, or I'm doing something. That's not the purpose of sick days. Sick days, when you get sick, you get paid. But if you don't get sick and you buy them back, that person is getting paid twice for those days. Paid in their regular salary and then paid on top of it. And that's wrong. And that's a burden on the taxpayer. That's one of the things we need to fix.
And for all employees, for all of our labor unions, that amount is capped. So it's not an endless well.
I know it's capped, but it shouldn't be anything. It should be, you get sick, you get paid. And oh, by the way, if you're sick 10 days a year, you got a problem. You're a problem. Especially if you're only working 180 days a year. You get sick 10 days. My thing. Secondly, on that same subject, does anybody want to comment on why they picked on Brick in Toms River? No?
I have no comment.
You have no comment?
No.
Did it close?
You know what I'm thinking. Brick and Toms River have been making a lot of noise on the other side of town. You want to sue the state? Okay, fine. Get back to you. Anybody watch? I'm sure you all watched the governor today do his. No?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I haven't been home yet.
How many people watched? How many didn't? I'm not allowed to poll, right? Okay, I'm not going to go into it, other than to say, he said something a couple times, and one time he said it 7 times. School funding is property tax relief. He said that 7 times. And he also said reducing medical costs for government employees, state, local, municipal, is also tax relief, right? Now, it's only tax relief if you believe that if you give the school more money, they're going to give some of it back to the taxpayers. Anybody that believes that is, give me some of the stuff you're smoking, because water seeks its own level, no pun on Normandy Beach, right? And whatever money you give them, they're going to spend. When was the last time somebody gave money back to the taxpayers? When was the last time either the township or the school taxes said, we're cutting taxes this year, we're not going to tax you as much as we did last year? It doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen. So it's not tax relief. I mean, the more money gets spent, it gets spent, right? One other thing, in case you're not aware, and I always talk about the school district. If you're not aware of Toms River, last week instituted a hiring freeze for the rest of the calendar year in the school district. The only people they're allowed to hire is the ones that are mandated by state law. In other words, if somebody loses a one-on-one aide, they have to replace them. All other jobs are frozen. People leave, bye-bye, not replacing them. Now, if you saw the last meeting, the school board, I said, everybody needs to share the pain, not just the taxpayers. Same thing applies here. We have not done anything yet, anything drastic at all, other than scare people with all the talk that's going on. So be aware of that. One other thing, Mr. Forster said how nice the meetings were going, all right? And I want to reiterate that. And I also appreciate the fact that we come here and we can have a dialogue, right? Which I think if you want people input to these meetings, you need to have a dialogue. If you just sit there and shake your head when somebody says something and then they sit down, there is no dialogue. Right? So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Did I get you all? Oh, no, one other thing.
All right, make it quick, because you're like 5 minutes over here. Being
The one
very
thing
generous.
that the governor did not mention,
Yeah.
when he mentioned pension and all this stuff, and something I bring up all the time, you have to look at, the state right now is carrying $200 billion worth of debt service, all right, bonds. And that's something that I harp on all the time.
Yeah,
You're mortgaging the future when you do that, $200 billion.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Seeing none, close public. On to council comments. Ms. Bergen?
I just wanted to say briefly on the mayor's behalf that he does apologize. Council members know, but he apologizes to the public for not being here. He is at the New Jersey Rec and Parks Association Awards Dinner, where Brick Township is receiving 2 very prestigious awards. We're receiving a first-place award for multi-use park for Bernie Cook Park, which is a beautifully done park, and we're so thrilled and honored that it's being recognized with first place achievement by this association. And secondly, in the marketing category, our rec brochure is being honored for its exceptional design and content, and I'm proud to report that brochure is all done in-house by our Public Information Officer, Ed Maroney, who is also with the mayor this evening to accept that award. So he's sorry that he can't be here, but he's also very proud of the opportunity to be where he is this evening.
But he's watching, so we can all
All right, yay, Brick Township, here we go. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Starkey?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Jen?
Nothing.
Councilwoman Tapsick?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Ms. Bergen for speaking about that. Our rec director, Dan Santinella, was also down at the conference dinner and asked me to talk about it, but you did, so that's great. I was supposed to go, but I had a work commitment that kept me from going down. So I just have one other announcement. We talked about it during the resolutions. The event at Brick Township High School, the Arts Festival, will be next Wednesday night, again, 6 to 9 p.m. It's kindergarten through 12th grade, artwork in the halls, performance art in the auditorium and different classrooms. Our school district partners just wanted to point out that it's rare that, and not very often, that the district can do a district-wide K-12 event like this, and they're really encouraging the public to come out and support. And I just have to point out that March 4th was picked deliberately for this event because it actually happens to be National Marching Band Day. Get it? March 4th? And that's so please go out and support the Arts Festival at Brick Township High School next week. And that's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the students of the month. Great job, and that's all I have for tonight.
Councilwoman Dion.
Thank you. On March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, the Senior Outreach Services is hosting their St. Patrick's Day celebration from 11 to 1 over at the Brick Senior Center, which is the VFW down Adamston Road. You do need to make a reservation for a ticket. The event fills up very quickly, so to reserve a ticket, please call Senior Services at 732-920-8686. And with that, have a good evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pontarera.
How about if I turn my microphone back on? I wanted to acknowledge the extraordinary efforts of Andrea Zapsig in regard to our town getting the awards that we're receiving for the multi-use park, Bernie Cook Park. She served as the chairperson of the Recreation Committee since she was elected 7 years ago, 6 years ago at this point. And she is not at the award ceremony, but that doesn't mean that she shouldn't be acknowledged. And she's done a lot of hard work on the Recreation Committee. I also want to acknowledge the outstanding work of Joanne Bergen in regard to the efforts for our flooded areas of Brick. These are things that are above and beyond what necessarily someone's, quote, job is. They are doing things because they legitimately care, giving of their time more than what is expected. So I want to say that the public may not see it, but as someone who's sitting up here, I see it, and I wanted to let the public know. We have 2 new areas for our Neighborhood Watch program. It's ever expanding. Yesterday at 7 p.m., there was a neighborhood watch meeting for the Birchwood Park area. So what happens if you miss that meeting? You can still call down to the town and get placed on the list via email and telephone so you could be a part of the neighborhood watch for Birchwood Park in the future. Also on March the 3rd, there's going to be a Brick Lake Park Neighborhood Watch meeting, and it's going to take place right here in the courtroom. Some people may not see this who aren't here in time to make the March 3rd meeting, so again, call down to the town, give them your email information, your telephone information, and you could be a part of the future meetings for the Neighborhood Watch. Last, the Lion's Head North, that's not a new group, but that's a continuing group. Lion's Head North is going to be meeting on March the 10th at 7 p.m. at the clubhouse, the Lion's Head Clubhouse. March the 10th at 7 p.m., Lion's Head North Clubhouse. Neighborhood Watch meeting for them. I also want to congratulate the students of the month. I think it's very important that we continue to acknowledge the efforts of our children when they do the right thing, and these children are doing the right thing, so I'm happy and proud that we're acknowledging them, and I hope that people come out to acknowledge their artwork, as Ms. Sapsik said, and support them in that way as well. Other than that, I have no further comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Halloran?
Thank you. Just congratulations to the students of the month. As usual, they're doing a great job. It's nice to see new people coming each month. You know, it's not the same ones every month. It's new people coming in. So we're getting great success throughout the student body, which is great. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. I just have two brief announcements. The first one is from our recycling coordinator. This year, in case you didn't know, Earth Day turns 50. Earth Day and I are turning 50 this year. I'm just going to point that out. I had to do the math on it. I thought, duh, 1970. There you go. So anyway, Earth Day's turning 50, and what they would like to do is they'd like to pair up with our schools in the district, and they're inviting all the schools in the district to participate in creating one or more bulletin boards in their schools to come up with the theme of, Earth Day celebrating 50 years. And they have some criteria. There has to be clear messaging. They have to upcycle the items that they use for the bulletin boards. And then our recycling coordinator, Trish Totaro, and her team of wonderful helpers are going to go around to each of the buildings and, take a look at them and judge them. So I hope that all the schools can participate. It's just another great way to remind kids about the importance of recycling and Earth Day, and a great way to celebrate. And then finally, I had a goal this year to try to introduce the township to different volunteer opportunities that are around. So this month I'm highlighting actually Brick Recreation. I think it's appropriate since they have their park being honored this evening. Brick Recreation, in case you did not realize this, has a youth service program. They're always seeking outstanding youths in grades 6 to 12 who want to make a difference in their community through service. Community Youth Service Program volunteers assist the recreation staff at events throughout the year, and they participate in activities such as beach cleanups and the different pickup brick days that we have. The Community Youth Service Program meets the first Monday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Recreation Department, and I can say that I know a lot of students who currently volunteer for this particular program, and they really love doing it. It's a great way for students to get involved in their town, assist other people who live in their town, and really just understand the feeling of community and why it's important that we work together. So when you see the kids at the farmers market pulling the wagons for people, those are some of those volunteers. If you go to Fright Fest, they help out with the hayride. They also, when the people who hand out their candy at Fright Fest, they're all individually bagged. The kids work and bag all of that candy for months leading up to that. They go to Summerfest, they work Fall Fest, they work with the Challenger programs. So it's a great way to get children and students in the community to be more involved. So if you want more information, you can call the Recreation Department, or your child can attend on the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m. And that's all I have this evening. Our next scheduled meeting is on Tuesday, March 10th. Can I call, what do we do now? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I have a
Let's
name?
get out of here. All in favor? Yes, goodbye.